Listen to me closely, because this can save you from months, maybe years of pain you did not deserve. Some words sound small when you first hear them. They slip into a conversation so smoothly that you almost miss what they are really doing. But certain phrases are not innocent. They are tests. They test your standards, your self-respect, your patience, and your ability to trust your own mind. Many women do not fall for love first. They fall for confusion. They fall for mixed signals. They fall for the hope that bad behavior will somehow turn into care if they are patient enough. And that is where the damage begins. In this video, I want to show you 5 things a man can say that should make you pause immediately and see the truth clearly. These are not just awkward comments or harmless mistakes. These are warning signs. They reveal how he sees you, how much respect he really has for you, and whether he wants connection or control. Stay with me, because the last one is the quietest of all, and that is exactly why it hurts so deeply. Most people do not notice it until their confidence is already shaken. And once you understand these patterns, you will never listen to the same way again. Before we get into the 5 phrases, you need to understand something important. A lot of women were taught to explain away behavior that should have been taken seriously the first time. They were taught to be patient when they should have been careful. They were taught to see hidden potential instead of clear reality. They were taught that being loving means being endlessly understanding, even when the other person keeps hurting them in plain sight. That is why so many people ignore their first instinct. Something feels wrong, but they stay. Something feels heavy, but they keep giving chances. They leave a conversation feeling tired, small, and confused, then tell themselves they are probably thinking too much. But your body notices what your mind tries to excuse. Your energy notices. Your peace notices. When someone speaks to you, they are not only sharing words, they are showing you their mindset. They are showing you how they handle power, discomfort, honesty, and accountability. A wrong person does not only affect your love life, he can affect your confidence, your focus, your friendships, your family relationships, your sleep, your health, even the future you were trying to build. So this is not only about romance, this is about protecting your life. And once you see that clearly, walking away stops feeling dramatic and starts feeling wise. The first phrase is this: you're too sensitive. Sometimes he says it a little differently. You're overreacting. You always take things the wrong way. Why are you making this such a big deal? But the message is the same. He is not trying to understand your feelings. He is trying to disqualify them. This is one of the fastest ways a person can make you doubt your own reality. Instead of looking at what he said or did, the whole focus shifts to your reaction, as if your pain is now the problem and his behavior is no longer part of the conversation. That is how self-doubt starts. Little by little, you begin editing yourself. You speak less. You question your tone. You hide what you feel. You start rehearsing simple conversations in your head because you are afraid of being called dramatic again. But let me say this clearly, feeling hurt when something hurtful happens is not weakness, it is information. A man who genuinely cares about you does not punish you for having emotions. He gets curious, he asks what upset you, he wants to understand your inner world, not silence it. If he keeps making your feelings sound unreasonable, what he is really saying is that your emotional truth is inconvenient for him. And a relationship where your truth is always inconvenient will slowly teach you to betray yourself. This is why that phrase is more dangerous than it sounds. It does not just dismiss one moment. It trains you to disconnect from your own instincts. And once a woman loses trust in her own inner voice, she becomes easier to control. She stops listening to the discomfort that was trying to protect her. She starts measuring every reaction through the eyes of the person hurting her. She wonders if she is asking for too much when she is only asking for basic respect. She wonders if she is hard to love when she is simply awake enough to notice what feels wrong. Do not miss this point. Sensitivity is not the issue. A lack of care is the issue. Emotional depth is not a flaw. It is part of what helps you read people clearly, love deeply, and recognize danger early. The right man will never make you feel ashamed for feeling deeply. He will not use your emotions as proof that you are unstable. He will see them as part of your honesty, part of your humanity, part of your strength. So if a man keeps telling you that you are too sensitive every time you bring up something real, do not keep shrinking to fit his comfort. Pay attention. That phrase is often the beginning of a relationship where you are expected to doubt yourself and excuse him at the same time. And that is a very expensive lesson to learn late. The second phrase is this: I'm just being honest. Pay attention to when this shows up. It usually comes right after a cruel comment, a cutting joke, an insult disguised as advice, or a statement that was clearly meant to wound. He says something harsh about your body, your dreams, your personality, your intelligence, your family, your age, your style, or your past. Then, the second you react, he hides behind honesty. I'm just being real. I'm only telling the truth. I guess you can't handle honesty. But honesty is not the same thing as carelessness. And honesty is definitely not permission to be cruel. Real honesty has timing. It has kindness. It has responsibility. It asks, how do I tell the truth without trying to humiliate the person in front of me? Someone who values you does not enjoy delivering pain and then calling it virtue. That is not maturity. That is aggression dressed up as boldness. And the trap here is subtle, because many people have been taught to admire brutal honesty, as if the brutal part is what makes it more real. It does not. Some people are not truthful. They are just careless with your heart. And some are worse than careless. They know exactly where to hit, then act shocked that you are bleeding. Stay with me here, because this pattern destroys confidence quietly, one comment at a time. When a man keeps using honesty as a shield for hurtful behavior, you begin to normalize emotional damage. You tell yourself maybe he is helping you improve. Maybe he means well. Maybe this is just how direct people speak. But if his honesty consistently leaves you feeling smaller, embarrassed, exposed, and drained, then it is not helping you grow. It is teaching you to accept disrespect under a smarter name. Healthy truth does not have to crush you to be real. A caring man can bring up hard things without stripping you of dignity. He can be direct without being mean. He can tell the truth without making a performance out of your pain. And that difference matters, because the goal of real honesty is clarity, not dominance. The goal is understanding, not superiority. If he seems energized by hurting you and then defending it as honesty, believe what you are seeing. Do not waste months trying to decode whether he is wounded, complicated, misunderstood, or secretly good underneath it all. People reveal themselves in patterns, not promises. If he repeatedly chooses sharpness over kindness and then tells you that your hurt is the problem, that is not a communication issue, that is a character issue. And the longer you stay in that kind of dynamic, the easier it becomes to forget that love is not supposed to feel like being cut and then blamed for feeling pain. The third phrase is this: you're being controlling. This one often appears the moment you express a boundary, a need, or a simple standard. You ask for consistency. You ask for honesty. You ask not to be spoken to with disrespect. You ask him to communicate clearly instead of disappearing and returning whenever he wants. You say that certain behavior does not work for you. And suddenly, instead of talking about the issue, he changes the story. Now you are demanding. Now you are difficult. Now you are controlling. But there is a big difference between control and clarity. Control is trying to force another person to live against their will. A boundary is saying, this is what I need to feel safe, respected, and emotionally steady. And if that cannot happen, I will remove myself. That is not manipulation. That is self-respect. People who benefit from your silence will often call your standards a problem. People who want unlimited access to you with limited responsibility will act offended the minute you become clear. This is why so many women slowly abandon their own needs. They get tired of being made to feel guilty for asking for normal things. They stop speaking up. They start becoming easier, quieter, more flexible, more accommodating. And they call that peace when it is really self-erasure. Watch this carefully in real life. If a man sees your boundaries as attacks, what he usually wants is not partnership. He wants freedom without accountability. He wants the comfort of your presence, the warmth of your attention, the safety of your loyalty, while still acting as if he owes you almost nothing. He may even praise you most when you are the version of yourself that asks for less. He may call you chill, low maintenance, easy to be with, as long as you do not bring up the things that matter. But a healthy relationship is not built on one person becoming smaller, so the other person can stay comfortable. The right man will not fear your standards. He will respect them because they help him understand how to love you well. He will not roll his eyes when you speak up. He will listen. He will want to know what creates safety for you, because your peace matters to him. If every need you express becomes proof that you are controlling, you are not in a balanced relationship. You are in a setup where only one person is allowed to have needs without punishment. And if you stay there too long, you will begin to feel proud of tolerating things that should have been deal breakers. That is not strength. That is what happens when someone slowly teaches you that wanting respect is somehow too much. The fourth phrase is this: I'm not ready for a relationship, or I don't want anything serious right now. On the surface, that may sound honest, and sometimes it is. But the danger is not only in the sentence, the danger is in the full pattern around it. He says he does not want commitment, yet he wants constant access. He wants daily messages, your attention, your care, your softness, your loyalty, your body, your emotional support, your time, your comfort, your understanding. He creates all the closeness of a relationship while keeping the title, the responsibility, and the accountability far away from himself. That is what makes this so painful, because he gives enough to make you hope, but not enough to make you safe. He keeps the connection warm, intimate, and emotionally loaded, but leaves the structure undefined. And then if you ask for clarity, he reminds you that he warned you. This is how people keep you in a place where you are deeply involved but not truly chosen. You are present, useful, available, invested, but still somehow optional. And that kind of uncertainty eats away at your self-worth faster than most people realize. Keep listening, because this is where many strong women lose years. Not because they are weak, but because they keep mistaking attention for intention. When a man really wants to be with you, you do not have to decode 100 mixed signals to understand it. It becomes clear. His actions stop creating confusion. He does not build a relationship and then deny it with technical language. He does not ask for the emotional benefits of commitment while protecting himself from every responsibility that commitment requires. A lot of women stay in these situations because they think patience will turn hesitation into certainty. They think if they love well enough, wait calmly enough, ask gently enough, or prove their value long enough, he will finally choose them fully. But commitment is not something you should have to earn by accepting less and less. And staying in emotional limbo has a hidden cost. You begin to live in a state of low-grade anxiety. You watch your words. You try not to ask for too much. You become grateful for scraps because scraps arrive wrapped in chemistry and closeness. But partial presence is still partial. And a man who wants all the benefits of you without clearly standing up for you is not confused in the way you think. Often he is simply comfortable. Comfortable receiving. Comfortable delaying. comfortable keeping doors open, comfortable letting you carry the emotional weight while he keeps his options intact. That is not love moving carefully. That is convenience protecting itself. The fifth phrase is the quiet one, the one many people do not catch until much later. It sounds like this: you've changed, and not in a good way. He may not say it exactly like that every time. He may say, you used to be sweeter, you used to be more fun, you used to be easier to talk to, you used to care more, you were different when I met you. And if you listen closely, what he is really saying is this: I preferred you when you took up less space. I preferred you before your boundaries got stronger. I preferred you before your standards got clearer. I preferred you when your life revolved around making me comfortable. This phrase hits so deeply because it targets growth. It makes you question whether becoming healthier somehow made you worse. It makes you wonder whether finding your voice made you less lovable. It creates guilt around your evolution, and guilt is powerful. It can make a woman shrink herself faster than criticism ever could. She starts to soften truths she had finally learned to say out loud. She apologizes for needing more. She stops pursuing the version of herself that felt more alive, because someone made that version feel threatening. This is why the phrase is so dangerous. It does not only challenge a behavior, it challenges your becoming. A man who truly cares about you does not resent your growth. He does not punish your healing. He does not act offended when you become harder to manipulate, harder to confuse, and clearer about what you deserve. He celebrates your expansion because he understands that a stronger, more grounded version of you is not a threat to love. It is a gift to love. The wrong man misses the version of you that accepted less. He misses the version of you that stayed quiet when hurt. He misses the version of you that explained his behavior to yourself before he ever had to explain it to you. That is why some women abandon their progress in order to keep a relationship alive. They stop speaking honestly, they stop chasing goals, they stop taking care of their own emotional life, they stop becoming, and then one day they look around and realize they are still in the relationship, but they are no longer fully in their own life. If someone keeps making your growth feel like betrayal, do not ignore what that means. Love that depends on your smallness is not love that can hold your future. Real love does not ask you to become less yourself so it can feel more secure. Real love has room for your voice, your purpose, your confidence, your change, your next level. Anything else may feel intense, but intensity is not the same thing as safety. So what do you do with all of this? First, stop only listening to words and start noticing patterns. Watch how you feel after spending time with someone. Do you feel calm, seen, respected, and clear, or do you feel anxious, guilty, confused, and somehow responsible for fixing the entire emotional atmosphere by yourself? Your nervous system notices before your mind fully explains it. Your body knows when you are constantly bracing. Your energy knows when a connection is draining more than it is giving. Pay attention to how often you are translating someone's behavior into a nicer story so you can keep staying. Pay attention to how often you are arguing with your own intuition just to keep hope alive. And let me add something important here. Not every painful comment means a person is evil. People can be immature, wounded, unaware, and emotionally clumsy. But repeated patterns matter more than excuses. If the same kind of damage keeps happening and the same kind of dismissal follows, you do not need a perfect label to leave. You do not need one final dramatic moment. You do not need courtroom level proof. If a connection keeps costing you your peace, your clarity, and your self-respect, that is enough information. Sometimes the wisest decision is not waiting for the situation to become unbearable. It is leaving when it has already become unkind. And please remember this: walking away from what dishonors you is not cruelty. It is self-respect in motion. It is not bitterness. It is not giving up on love. It is making room for a kind of love that does not require endless recovery. Too many people stay because they fear being alone. when the real tragedy is being slowly emptied out in the name of connection. The right person will not need you to prove, explain, reduce, edit, and defend your worth every week. The right person will not call your pain drama, your standards control, your sensitivity weakness, your growth a problem, or your need for clarity an inconvenience. The right person will recognize the value of what you bring and meet it with care, and until that arrives, your job is not to keep offering your heart to people who keep handing it back bruised. Your job is to protect what is sacred in you, protect your peace, protect your attention, protect your softness, protect your future. Let people be disappointed that they can no longer access you in the old careless way. Let them misunderstand your boundaries if they want. You are not here to stay easy for people who are hard on your soul. And if this message is reaching you at the exact moment you needed it, do not ignore that. Some truths arrive right on time.